But seriously, where do we go from here? For my money, here's the main thing we need to do from here on out. We need to pledge ourselves to do this. We need to start being unashamed. For far too long, we backed up into the shadows. We don't want to speak up because we're afraid we're going to be demonized. We give way to the loud, screaming ridiculousness of the left because we don't want them to call us racist or bad people. You know, when I look at my grandson, here's what I think about. I think about myself, and I think about the people who came before me. I think all the way back to the men who fought with George Washington during the Revolution. Those men just weren't fighting for themselves. Whether they knew it or not, they were laying down their lives, willing to lay down their lives for me, for what I've been able to enjoy in this country, the freedoms that I've been able to enjoy, the prosperity that I've been able to enjoy. There have been millions of men and women who have done that throughout the course of our American history. If those people could lay down their lives to help build this republic and sustain this republic, then I think I could do my part under the threat of being called a few foul names. So we have to start being unashamed, and we have to start standing up, and we have to start speaking up. We have to be unashamed to be Christians, to be Americans, to be conservatives, and to be Republicans. Why should we be unashamed to be Christians? That's obvious. Jesus Christ gives the ultimate example of service and sacrifice. He held all the power of the universe in his hands. What did he do with it? Did he rule over us like some tyrant? No. He allowed himself to be stripped, beaten, and crucified. And he did that for all of us before we even took our first breath on earth, before we took our first steps or committed our first sin. Jesus Christ died on the cross for us, holding all of the power of the universe in his hand. It's the ultimate example of sacrifice and service. Why should we not be ashamed to be Americans? That's also obvious. America is the greatest nation on earth, the most charitable nation on earth. Everybody on this planet desires to come here and take part in this nation, even if just for a little while. People will risk their lives to come here and get a small portion of this nation. So that's why we should be proud to be Americans. And why should we be proud to be Republicans? Because Republicans believe in freedom. Yes. Republicans believe in equality.
Yes.
We have the history to back it up. We believe in the premise that built this nation. The premise of we hold these truths to be self-evident. Republicans believe in that. Why should we be proud to be conservatives? Because conservatism, as we can see now, has raised more people, raised the standard of living for more people on this planet than any other type of thinking on earth. We can see it now, what's going on in Europe.
Yeah.
There are people in Europe that are desperate to have what we have, the freedoms that we have, the prosperity that we have, the leader that we have. So we should not be ashamed to be those things. We should not be ashamed to be Christians. We should not be ashamed to be Americans. We should not be ashamed to be conservatives. And we certainly should not be ashamed to be Republicans. And finally, I just want to say this to all of you all. I've said this to a lot of other people, a lot of other groups, and I'm going to continue to say it. No matter what happens in any upcoming election, just like with this past election that just happened, doesn't matter whether we win, lose, or pull a draw. The forces on the left are never going to stop fighting us.
Amen.
Ever.
Ever.
They're never going to stop their attacks. They're desperate for power. They're desperate to destroy our way of life as we know it now. We must be just as determined. So my challenge for you today is this. When you go home today, before you lay down, thank God that you live in the greatest country on earth. And take a look in the mirror and ask for his strength to help you decide what it is that you can do for the cause of freedom. Our president has a saying, make America great again. I believe that that's a challenge and a declaration to every day get up out of bed and figure out what it is you can do, as I said, for the cause of freedom. How can you make America great again on a daily basis? So that's my challenge that I leave for all of you all. Do not be afraid to stand up and declare who you are and be who you are. And be ready for the fight to save this republic, because folks, that's exactly what it is. It's a fight. We must stand up and be ready to take that fight head on. Not for ourselves, but for our future generations and the generations after that. Thank you very much for your time.